So I'm joined by Lily and Beverly to discuss PW Productions' Young Ambassadors programme. Now, we're going to start by talking about Wonder Boy, and I'm fascinated to know, what were your very first impressions then of the show?
So initially when the show opens up, there's almost no dialogue, and it's really interesting to see how the actors have to then use their physicality to sort of bring the story out. And it was honestly slightly confusing. Like, it was such an abstract concept what was being presented to us, but then that then built up and you got an understanding, and there was two characters on the stage at the start, one of who was completely imaginary and then the other one being Sunny, the main character. And so it was really, it got you thinking, it got you asking questions about what was going to come next, because it was completely unpredictable and it was really interesting to watch.
Would you say that was your standout moment, or was there other parts in the show that immediately come back and you remember them because they were so powerful?
There's so many moments in the show that just like absolutely stood out, and ranging from like really emotional to like laugh out loud. And it was really interesting to see how the show ranged so like easily. So there's a moment where the character Roshi is sort of summarising Hamlet, and it's like she does it in such a way that is so funny, and it's like it's Hamlet in 60 seconds, and it's hilarious. And then there's moments where we find out what Sunny's been through, and it's like you've got to take a second to not cry. And it's like, it's so powerful and so moving, and there are so many points in the play that you can hardly pinpoint just one.
Okay, that's a great answer. I don't know what I was expecting, but that is a really powerful answer. Now, you talked obviously, about the things that you've loved, but it sounds like lots of it resonated with you. Were there particular sort of themes about communication? I mean, lots of themes in there, but were there any that really, really resonated with you?
Yeah, so I think Sunny's struggle with communication, because he's a 12-year-old boy and he's living with a stutter in a school that doesn't particularly understand that. And so seeing him have to come up with his own ways of communicating his thoughts and his ideas to people was so powerful, because I think everybody in some way can relate to that, because we're constantly having to find ways to communicate with people, whether it's through talking or through movement or acting itself, just to get our ideas across in new ways that other people can understand.
I was just going to ask you about the sort of the communication diversity. Has it changed the way you think about it, or how did you feel sort of watching that and watching the story unfold? Because it just sounds like it was just powerful to witness.
So I think every moment during the play, there's at least two ways that they're communicating things forward, whether that's physical and dialogue or the creative captionings, and there's constantly a way that they're presenting an idea to you, or a theme, or just a concept that they want you to understand, and there's always a way that they're doing that at every moment in the play.
So one of the things we haven't talked about yet is the language. So I'm going to come straight to you, Beverly, because the language in Wonder Boy is pretty strong. What are your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, she's 15,
yes.
So it's possibly stuff she may have heard before, but I think in a theatrical setting, I just want to know what your thoughts are, if you thought it was appropriate or...
Yeah, so actually it is appropriate to play. It feels like it's what life is like for young people now. I remember my first time in a school playground environment and hearing the language of being surprised, but then realising that actually it is normal. It's part and parcel of growing up and testing out those things and just seeing what reaction you get from people. But within the play, it is about conveying kind of energy and emotion and enthusiasm and passion, and so it fits perfectly in that environment, because there's so many frustrations within Sunny's experience and his friend Roshi. There's so much going on for them that it's kind of natural that they express themselves that way. So I wasn't shocked by it. I'm quite happy for Lily to hear that stuff, because I know there isn't a word that she hasn't heard, so it was fine.
That's good. I was going to check.
Yeah.
Were you shocked by it, or was it maybe the first time you've heard swearing on stage in a theatrical setting? I don't know.
No, so it's not the first time I've heard swearing on a stage, but I think it really works well with the play, because something that the playwright has done is he's taken such a reality from life, but then he's turned the play into this abstract piece while keeping that sense of it being real. And so if he hadn't included all like the strong language, I feel like it would have taken away a sense of that reality, because when it comes to real life, in high school, there are people swearing constantly. It's something that you can't escape. And so the fact that he has included that in the script, I think just elevates it slightly, knowing that that is what happens.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've only got to watch a soap opera and suddenly realise that it's really realistic until they start shouting. You think, well, they'd have sworn by now.
Yeah.
They were that frustrated, there'd have been a swear by now. I'm going to ask you both this, but I think I'll start with you, Lily, actually. What would you say to someone of your age then about why they should come and see Wonder Boy?
I think if I was to speak to somebody my age, I would say that it gives such a perspective on people who struggle with things that people don't understand. So with Sonny's stammer, his sentences are constantly finished by other people, and he's cut off and he's having words put in his mouth that aren't his. And I feel like that's something that happens not only to people with stammers, and Sonny's experience simply amplified that and made it realise that we often don't listen to people when we should. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people, especially people my age, can take away from that, because it's such a powerful idea within the play that I feel like it really needs to be out there. It needs to reach more people.
Absolutely. And teenagers, like you say, can be talked over, can be, have their ideas and things quashed, because seemingly adults always seem to think they know a bit better.
Yeah, I feel like that is very true.
Well, Beverly, what's your takeaway from it? Because I'm guessing maybe just slightly different.
Yeah, so different from, I suppose, realising that adults have got such an important part to play in giving their attention to young people and listening properly. And you see what happens between Sonny and Wainwright when Wainwright listens. And there's a real powerful transformation in the play when that happens. And you can see how different it is when the head is involved. So it's quite a startling portrayal, I suppose, of how someone can be so curtailed by another human being, normally an older, more experienced human being. So it does cause you to pause and really think about that communication. So I think there are some really important messages in there. If people can think about, oh, I wonder when I might do that.
Do you know something? I think anything that makes you pause and think about it is just super powerful, isn't it? Well, thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you.